What's up guys, Namek back with another video. Today I want to talk about Stoicism and why everybody should try to implement Stoicism as part of their lives. So what made me want to do this video is because I just got done reading the book called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Now, I 100% recommend this book for anybody who's trying to get into Stoicism and learn more about it. It's a very good introduction book. So what is Stoicism? Stoicism is an ancient Greek philosophy that talks about maximizing positive emotion, reducing negative emotions, and helps individuals hone in their virtues of character. Long story short, Stoicism is the idea that you shouldn't worry about things that are out of your control. Worry about yourself, and that way you can live your best life. Now, in the book Meditation, Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor from 161 to 180. He was best known for his meditations on Stoic philosophy and was known as the last good emperor. The crazy part about this book is, when I was reading it, how much of the stuff from way back then, thousands of years ago, was still so relevant to today's day and age. So there are a few things I want to talk about from the book and just the Stoic mindset in general that I think could help everybody. Number one, you have the power over your mind, not outside of it. Realize this and you can find strength. Basically what this is saying is you have control over one thing. You don't have control over anything on the outside world, but you have control over one thing. That's your mind. At the end of the day, not a single person can control how you react to things and what you think about in your mind. Now, this is a very powerful thing to realize, and it can really change your perspective, right? You can't control anything going on in the world. You can't control how other people act. You can't control how the news is spread. You can't control what good things people are doing and what bad things people are doing. But what you can control is obviously how you react to things. Just because somebody did something negative or something negative is going on doesn't mean you have to react to every single thing. You can continue to push forward and live your life and do what you think is best for you. You don't have to listen to the outside noise. You can choose to if you want, but generally 9 times out of 10, when you listen to that outside noise and when you start focusing on things that don't matter, you're not going to get a positive outcome. Remember, your mind is a very important thing. It's key, especially nowadays in society. It's key to have a clear mind, right? So just make sure you realize at all times you're always thinking like, okay, whatever's happening, I have the right to react a certain way. I have a right to react a positive way. I have a right to react a negative way. And I think the big thing he said here was, once you realize that you have control of your mind, you can really find your strength. It should really be considered a strength, in my opinion, when you can overcome the nonsense of the world, when you can overcome the nonsense of what's going on around you and still stay level-headed. And this is a big trait that a lot of successful people have. Number two, another point I really liked about this book and Stoic mindset is waste no more time arguing what a good person should be and just be one. I think this is a great quote because I think a lot of people these days spend a lot more time telling other people how to be a good person rather than implementing what they say, right? How many times have you seen on social media people just arguing about some person who did something and they're like, oh, this guy's a bad person or this girl's a bad person because I don't agree with what they're saying, right? You see that all the time. And maybe that they are a bad person, maybe they are a good person, you never know. But you spending all that time arguing about what another person is doing, if they're a good person or not, you could literally be spending that time doing what you think is right, doing what you think makes a good person, right, on a day-to-day basis. It's really, in my opinion, kind of silly to base other people based on your moral compass. They're obvious just truths of the world, right? The things that people should do and people shouldn't do. That's obvious. Those things are perfectly fine, but there's a lot of stuff that's like based on your morals, your set of morals. One person might think this is not bad, some person might think this is the worst thing in the world. If you're gonna spend all your time arguing rather than just doing what you think is good, fighting for your cause or fighting for whatever, or just being a part of your cause, you don't even have to fight, just being a part of it and continue to live that lifestyle, that's gonna be much better off. Number three, and the final big thing I took away from this, is turning the other cheek. Marcus in this book says, God did not intend my happiness to lie with somebody else. Don't soak in criticism or praise. Like I said, this kind of wraps up the other points as well and just kind of whole mindset in general. One quote I think he says in the book that sums it up well is he says this: if someone despises me, that's their problem. Mine, not to do or say anything. If someone hates me, that's their problem. Mine, to be patient and cheerful with everybody, including them. Ready to show them their mistake. Not spitefully, not to show off my own self-control, but in an honest, upright way. That's the way we should be like inside, and never let the gods catch us feeling anger or resentment. I think this is such a great quote in general. This is the best way to live life, in my honest opinion. One thing I really liked about it is when he says, ready to show them their mistake, but not in a spiteful or a way to show off my own self-control. I believe that's a big thing because a lot of people, right, they like to prove that they're right. Like, oh, this person had this opinion and now they're changing their opinion in my opinion. Like, look at me, I got you. Even with like self-improvement, a lot of people kind of tend to be like that. They're kind of like act like they're above somebody else because they're in this path or on this pathway. It's really not how it's supposed to be. let's say somebody chooses to, they're doing whatever, and they choose to start going on the self-improvement path. They start doing meditation, they start reading more, etc., etc. You should look at that as like a positive thing. You shouldn't look at that as like, oh, back then you were lame, and now look, you're trying to be a part of this thing that I've already been a part of for 3 years, like kind of gatekeeping it. I feel like a lot of people do that. They try to gatekeep things. That's not how people learn. You gotta be willing to just let people learn at their own pace, at their own time. I started this at what's considered a late age, right? I'm 23, 24. That's when I started the self-improvement stuff. A lot of people, maybe they're starting when they're 15, 16, 17, 18. But at the end of the day, there are people who start when they're 40. But that doesn't make anybody better than anybody else. I think that's a big thing he talks about in this book as well that I really liked about it, is like, you gotta show people compassion even if you disagree with them. The best way to talk to them and the best way for them to see your perspective is to treat them with kindness and compassion. If you start being mean and rude and trying to argue with them and being very abrasive, they're not really gonna have any reason to listen to your point or viewpoints at all. In conclusion, man, I think the Stoic mindset's great. I'm definitely gonna do more Stoic readings. Let me know if you guys have read any other books that are about the Stoic mindset. Until next time, I'm out of here.